Friday evening. Welcome to the Devi Show. Tonight's broadcast is extra special as we mark Women's Day ahead of Sunday by saluting the pivotal contribution women make to our country. But something needs to be said. There really isn't much to celebrate. There is more to mourn. We're a nation which treats women carelessly, and the stats are clear. We have one of the highest rates of violence against women in the world. Gender-based violence is a shameful reflection of who we've become as a nation. So we took the decision to mark Women's Day tonight by sharing with you stories which are frank, inspirational, and real. Here's what we have lined up. She lost her eye. Josina Machel, daughter of the late president of Mozambique and stepdaughter to Nelson Mandela, on why GBV knows no status, no limits.
I've been insulted by the judicial system. The justice system increased my invisibility.
They're sexy, smart, and sassy. Meet 4 classically trained virtuosos who have been rocking local and international stages, owning their spaces. When your father was a former president, when your stepfather is a Nobel laureate, there is this perception that the world would be at your feet, that there would be privileges and opportunities beyond the reach of ordinary people. All of this is true, but the one thing Josina Machel couldn't make herself immune to is gender-based violence. In this candid interview, she proves that GBV can happen to anybody, anywhere. Josina Machel was born a year after independence in Mozambique to President Samora Machel and his wife Graça, at a time when the country was ravaged by war with Renamo. But South Africa was also at war, and the Machel family provided refuge and support to exiled ANC members.
I grew up with the leadership of the ANC in the house, so I knew what it was about. And Maputo had also been bombarded a few times, you know. So we knew that we were in a war situation, and there was also Renamo. So he explained that that could happen anytime. And I asked him, and I said, but Daddy, then let's leave. Just leave this, you know, let's go to the village and just stay in the village. And he said, I can't leave the people.
As a little girl of 10, she recalls her father's premonition of his impending death.
2 months before he died, he sat me down and he did tell me that, look, you might wake up one day and Daddy's not here.
She vividly recalls the morning after his plane had disappeared.
My mom was hysterical. We could hear her from the door, actually. And so we picked up, yeah, there's something very wrong. And she said that they can't find Daddy's plane.
The mystery of what happened scarred their family indelibly.
My mom was absent for years. She cried for 5 years straight. She was dressed in black for 5 years consecutive. I think at year 3, she started having dinner with us and stuff because my younger brother complained.
Years later, her mother Graça married Nelson Mandela. Josina found herself once again a president's daughter, and Graça smiled again. But nearly 2 years after Madiba's death, just ahead of her mother's 70th birthday celebrations, events transpired that would change the course of Josina's life forever.
The events that led to that fateful night started perhaps 24 hours before. And I was extremely emotional. You know, it was a realization that my mom was not young. Anything could happen.
At the time, she was dating this man, Rufino Likuk, a wealthy Maputo businessman and entrepreneur who had interests in oil, gas, and telecommunications.
I had to go and represent the family at a show that the National Dance Company in Mozambique was actually releasing based on my dad's life. I asked Rufino to take me to this function, and he said, no, I have a business meeting, I can't. As the show finished, he picked us up and he invited us. He said, let's go and have dinner. So we all went to dinner. I was already very conscious that I needed to fly back on the 17th early because I wanted to come to surprise my mother. My mom was here and not in Mozambique.
They head to a club, but around midnight, an argument starts in the car about where Josina would spend the night.
The conversation became, Devi, to be honest, I did not pick up that there was a danger imminent in that conversation. It's two people just not agreeing where I was going to spend the night. His voice starts changing and he then erupts. You know, you think I'm stupid, and boom, I get the first knock here. And I'm so shocked that I turn to him and I'm like, what? And as I go, the what? There's a second one that goes like, what am I for? You know, and that's it. He hits me on the high.
In that moment, she realized something was horribly wrong.
It kind of goes black. I feel that something, you know, there's liquid coming out. So I hold onto it and say, hey, you're hurting me, stop, what you doing? And then I get the third blow to the back of my head. Something then says, get out of the car.
Holding onto her injured eye, she tries to get away, but in the panic, she falls.
He then drives to where I was. And you know, when I realized he was driving, I thought, gonna get rid of me. I'm gonna die here. No one would even know what has happened to me.
But Rufino puts her back into the car and drives her to a public hospital.
Looking back, there were private clinics very close to where I was beaten up. But we drove to the other side, to a public hospital.
She bursts into the hospital.
Like, help, my eye, I'm gonna go blind, please help. And then they start asking questions. And at this point, he had left the car, he had found me. And they asked what happened. And his first answer is, she fell. And I looked at him, you know, I turned and I said, you lie, you beat me. And he goes silent.
Coming up, the court case and Josina's crusade to end the scourge of gender-based violence.
It just very glaringly demonstrates how the experiences and the abuse of women has just been normalized.
Welcome back. If you just tuned in, welcome to our special Women's Day broadcast of The Devi Show. Before the break, former First Daughter of Mozambique, Josina Machel, walked me through the events of the night which changed her life forever. In part 2, Josina continues her story, but the consequences of that one evening will last forever. Josina's mother and brother took her to see a specialist ophthalmologist to try and save her eye at a clinic in Spain, but it was all in vain.
And then he says, what happened to you again? And I said, I was beaten up. I don't believe you're going to see again.
In a series of messages, Rufino apologized. One of his messages said, I will keep my prayers as high as my heart and soul that will forever wipe this nightmare out of our lives, baby. I'm forever on my knees, bent like never in my life, praising and praying for Almighty God that punishes me and forgives me for this sin.
He didn't deny that he had beaten me up. He apologized he had beaten me up.
When she returned to Maputo in mid-November, 4 weeks after the incident, Josina laid charges against Rufino Likuk. But when they started gathering evidence, she realized some of it had disappeared or had been erased.
Getting the documents from the hospital and from the police, that is when I realized they had all disappeared. And the hospital had no documents that proved that I had been in that public hospital for 5 hours. Eventually, they bring me a book of all the entries, and at the end of one page, they had blackened out something. And the interesting thing is they recognized Josina and Machel. So they erased that, but they did not recognize my middle name. So my middle name is Ziaya. And in that part, the Iyaya was there. And I told them, that's me. Now you need to rebuild this because this is me. I was in this hospital.
The case finally went to trial in February 2017. The court ruled in her favor. So in the end, he was found guilty for beating you. He was given a 3-year suspended sentence and ordered to pay $2 million.
Yes.
Right. And he did that. He paid, everything was sorted out.
No, never paid.
He never paid?
No.
Because he appealed?
Yes, because he appealed.
The appeal process was finally concluded in June this year.
I got the news around the 20th of June. It had been a week. My lawyer was only notified a week later. The higher court of appeal absolved him of the crime.
How did you feel when you heard?
I gasped. I felt like, a knife had been... I thought I had heard wrong.
From the information we have, it says 4 judges of the appeal section of the Judicial Court of Maputo said they had to value his evidence and ruled that Machel may well have injured herself while falling because she had drunk alcohol.
And the interesting thing, I'm the one who had mentioned when I went to the hospital, I immediately told him I'd been at a dinner with him and we had been at a club and I had had alcohol.
And although she had 8 ophthalmologists vouching for the fact that the injury was caused by a blunt object, the judges accepted the opinion of a forensic doctor who saw her 6 months after the incident.
The sentence has been decided because of one forensic doctor who said I had drunk, I had fallen, and something had pierced my eye. Now, this is a forensic doctor that never laid his eyes on me. Even when I saw him, he sat across the table from me. He didn't even open my eye.
In terms of throwing out the damages award, they said high compensation is found only in situations where the victim has the beauty of the body as a tool for income, or for sports people, when the injury results in deprivation of the activity. So you're not a model beauty queen or a sports person, therefore the loss of your eye in the judge's view is completely inconsequential.
Absolutely.
What does that feel like?
Insult. I've been insulted by the judicial court, by the judicial system. I have been humiliated by the judicial. So, Rufino took me one eye, the justice system, increased my invisibility. It just very glaringly demonstrates how the experiences and the abuse of women has just been normalized.
During the entire trial and all of the people were calling you a ruthless gold digger. They were saying you were a rich brat.
There's still people who go like, oh, the one with the millionaire eye.
No.
Absolutely. Just go on social media. That's how brutal it is.
Josina has opted to appeal the judgment.
If I allow this one to stand, millions of women will have to pay for this kind of sentence.
We tried calling and emailing Rufino Likuk for an interview, but he never responded. Josina refuses to see herself as a victim. Instead, she's become a GBV activist and recently delivered a TED Talk.
Do you choose to remain a victim, or you can pick up yourself and you can hold on to other women, and in strength and giving voice, you also become part of the numbers that says no more?
We've got the best of legislation adopted in SADC, but when it comes to implementation, it's zero. The people in the judiciary are still, men who have been raised in a patriarchal system, who therefore have very misogynistic approaches to the value and to the lives of women.
One of her initiatives is to train police to deal with these cases to improve the conviction rate.
The same also with the medical fraternity. Nurses and doctors need to be able to report adequately and report in a way that validates what this woman says.
And she's lobbying for centralized databases.
So that a woman ideally goes in and she tells a story in one particular place and that information is disseminated to the others. The whole thing that I have to repeat my story time and time again, it just forces me to go to that place that is so degrading.
Josina's hoping that she can help turn the tide.
It's us standing up and saying no. You know what? Do you know an abuser Do something about it. Don't think it's going to pass.
We don't have the answers. Josina's story is a glaring indictment of a society which fails women every single day. But the day communities stop whispering and start talking loudly is the day change will come. The day perpetrators are put in jail is the day transformation begins. And the day victims break the cycle and report immediately is the day we begin the rest of our lives. After the break, the Muses, classically trained virtuosos, creating their own story. They're known as the Muses, four amazing women blazing their own trail in the entertainment business. Meet the string quartet who are guaranteed to get you on your feet with their popular renditions ranging from jazz to rock. Sassy, electric, fierce, and that's just the music. These drop-dead gorgeous women are the Muses, a classically trained string quartet. Entertaining South Africans since 2011 with their eargasmic music and sultry performances guaranteed to get you on your feet. I recently caught up with these talented ladies.
I'm now Buthelezi and I play the cello.
My name is Ashley Lineker and I play the violin.
My name is Ruby Letswalo and I play the viola in the group.
I'm Olivia Kotzer and I play the violin.
Olivia, the group founder, says their name and purpose is geared around inspiration.
In Greek mythology, the Muses were the daughters of Zeus. They inspired arts, music, drama, poetry. So muse in the typical sense, I think we wanted to be inspirational and set ourselves up as something that inspires people to want to watch and have fun and feel something.
Despite their different circumstances growing up, music is something they were all drawn to at an early age.
I come from a musical family. Both my parents were in the community choir. My dad is a conductor. Every Saturday when they had choir practice, my little sister and I would tag along because we didn't have a babysitter. And we'd always listen to the orchestra in the room next door. And I remember one New Year's, I said to my dad, I think I want to play the violin for this year as my New Year's resolution.
How old were you?
I was 8.
When I was 7 years old, Vanessa May came onto the scene and she really lit up the violin, electric violin, and making it sexy was, she made it happen.
I went to a music school in Soweto and my mom, we were walking around trying to see which instrument I was going to choose. And I went into the violin class and the teacher was shouting at the students. And then I went into the cello class and they were sitting down. So I was like, I'll choose this one because they're sitting down.
I started when I was 4.5.
Wow.
Yeah, we were living in Windhoek and we went to the conservatoire and there was a violin teacher there, Mr. Chek, who had just got back from studying the Suzuki method in Japan. When he saw me, he said, how old is she? I was 4.5, my sister was 6. He said, already too old. They start from 3 years old. Yeah, in the Suzuki method you can. So you get these really, really tiny violins. Children start in grade 1. I've always loved the violin, yeah. I played piano for a bit, but violin has always been my main passion.
The girls are big fans of trusting your feelings, working hard, and following your dreams. So how many hours a day were you practicing?
Like I would play from the morning till the evening. So anything between 8 and 10 hours.
What is it like being on stage with the Muses?
It's the best feeling. It's even better when you look to your left or to your right and you see what you're feeling in someone else's face. It's incredible. I don't actually know how else to explain it.
For me, my favorite is when they actually come in front and start dancing and it's like, oh, they know the words to the song.
What always struck me about the four of you is the energy, and you guys have a synergy.
Yes.
That's not an easy thing to get.
No, it's not. And I must say, off stage, all of us are really good friends. And I think because of that, because we have such a good bond with one another, you can see it on stage when we're performing together. We know each other well.
In between sets, you have a chill session with the girls. And I think then that's where the friendship grows.
With the territory of being a muse comes the heavy burden of a fashionable wardrobe, sexy heels, and designers throwing clothes at you. It's really a tough life.
We're so spoiled. It's wonderful to be able to dress up.
So name drop.
Our recent African-styled shoot outfits were mostly in corsi, but we've worn some black coffee dresses for a photo shoot. And last year we did the most beautiful gold dresses from BG.
In COVID-19 times, their will to stay relevant is as strong as their friendships.
It's very challenging. Our main passion is being on stage, and it's all about the getting ready and putting on makeup and bonding over that time. We ultimately get to spend time as friends as well, and we don't get to do that at the moment.
How are you keeping your mind also looking to the future?
I think I find solace in the fact that I know I'm not alone, but I set up a routine. I've started working out again. I've started practicing again.
Now that, we've got lockdown, what does that mean for you in terms of your work?
So what the group has been doing is online videos. We're trying to keep content going so that we still stay relevant to people.
One thing is certain, the Muses have no intention of slowing down soon. They continue to inspire, much like their ancient Greek counterparts.
If you're going to choose the road less traveled, you must know that at some point or another, things will get hard. But if you're going to do it, you have to put your life into it. You have to put your entire being into making it successful.
You have to strive towards fulfilling your passion. And if you have a passion, don't give up on it. Every single day I've just worked hard, and it is possible. If you believe in yourself enough, anything's possible.
We just can't wait to be back on stage and performing. Hopefully we'll be bringing out some new music. We've just released some African and South African covers. I think we might do a few more of those because we really feel our heritage and love playing music that is representative of South Africa.
The Muses, a reminder of the magic women can achieve when we come together. And that's our contribution. We'd like to wish you a meaningful Women's Day long weekend, but please do stay in touch. We'd love to hear your story ideas via devi@etv.co.za. From me and the Devi team, until next time, heads up South Africa. Let's keep our eyes fixed on the horizon. We've got this.